Hi, welcome back to another, video. And today we're going to be looking at every single team's playoff chances and what I think will happen to them moving forward in the playoffs. We're going to start with the Western Conference, and then we will go into the Eastern Conference, and I will talk about the play-in games and all the bracket seeding all the way to the championship. So let's get into it. Our first game is Lakers versus Warriors, and I think the Warriors will come on top, and the Lakers will be eliminated from playoff contention. I think the Warriors do have a more refined team than the Lakers, although the Lakers do get many foul calls, which could, kind of turn the tides of the game and maybe allow them to win. But that's something that is yet to be decided, I guess. So our second game is the Suns versus the Mavericks, and I think the Mavericks will win this game and move on to be the 7th seed. With the way the Mavericks are playing right now, Luka and Kyrie are almost unstoppable, and I think they will actually only be the 7th seed by the end of the season. So I think they will definitely move on. So our final game is in the play-in is going to be the Suns versus the Warriors. I think the Warriors are going to win it due to that their latest regular season matchup where the Warriors did win. Off a buzzer beater, almost, but I think the Warriors will win that game due to the Suns' lack of bench depth, even though they got Isaiah Thomas. But I do believe that the Warriors will win. So our first game is going to be the Thunder versus the Warriors, and although the Thunder are the best team in the West, I think they're not as well suited for the playoffs due to their youth, and I actually don't think they would win a playoff series. Which they might. They're a very good team, but I don't know if they have the experience to, play in these high-pressure situations and how they get matched up to how their weaknesses are going to be used against them, playing against teams who prepare for them in the playoffs. So I think the Warriors are going to beat the Thunder. Our next game is against the Nuggets and the Mavericks, and the Nuggets are the defending champions, and I'm not going to go against them, so I think the Nuggets are going to win. Next, you got the T-Wolves versus the Kings, and I think the T-Wolves will win. Their Twin Towers are almost unstoppable right now, and I do think the T-Wolves will beat the Kings, though the Kings are a very good team. So next, and then our final game, we got the Clippers versus the Pelicans, and although the Clippers have cooled off a little bit, I still do think the Clippers are one of the best teams in the league, and they are, obviously. So I think they will beat the Pelicans in 6 games. So they're going to be moving on to the next round. So in our next round, we got the Nuggets versus the Warriors. And really, realistically, the Nuggets are a matchup nightmare for the Warriors, and they would get destroyed. They don't have an answer for Nikola Jokic. So I do think the Warriors will lose that series to the Nuggets, I think in 6 games. Our next matchup is going to be, or our final matchup is going to be the T-Wolves versus the Clippers, and I think the Clippers will win that game in 5 games. I think they will pretty much blow them out in the first 3 games, maybe drop one, pick one up, and move on to the conference finals against the Nuggets. And I do think the Nuggets will beat the Clippers, but I do think it'll be a close 7-game series. The Clippers have a very good defense and offense ratio with passing, everything you need, while the Nuggets do have that championship caliber, as they proved last year. Although the Clippers are a very experienced team in the playoffs as well, with Kawhi Leonard, who has won 2 Finals MVPs in his career. So, although that is true, I do think the Nuggets are going to move on to the finals, as I'm not going to go against the defending champions. So next on our list, we have the Eastern Conference, and our first game is the Bulls versus the Hawks. I think the Bulls should win this game, and this shouldn't really be... I wasn't not a big believer in the Hawks. Trae Young, he's very good, but I don't believe in it. Yeah, he's good, very good. He's a really good player. 22 points, maybe more than 22 points, many assists a game. But I do think the Bulls will win this game due to DeMar DeRozan, who is very clutch in the regular season. I don't know if it'll translate to playoffs, but going off current knowledge, I think the Bulls will win. And then next we got the Pacers versus the Heat, and I do think the Heat will win because Jimmy Butler just goes easy in the regular season and then just becomes Michael Jordan's son in the playoffs. So I'm always picking the Heat to win. And then, so for our final play-in tournament game, we got the Bulls versus the Pacers. I do think the Pacers' run and gun offense will work in this situation against the Bulls, who are still a good team, but I do think the Pacers will move on. So Pacers are going to be the 8th seed, and the Heat are going to be the 7th seed. Okay. So our first game is going to be the Celtics versus the Pacers. And this, I think, I don't think anyone's really going against the Celtics yet, although there have been some concerns. The Celtics are one of the best regular season teams of all time in comparison, net rating wise, with the 2017 Warriors and the 96 Bulls. So I'm not going to bet against them yet, and I'm putting the Celtics to beat the Pacers in 4 games. Clean sweep. Next, we got the Bucks and the Heat, a rematch of last year's first round thing. I do think the Bucks will take it this time, but in 6 games, because Jimmy Butler's a madman, and I think he will win both of the Heat's road games, but Giannis and Dame will close out every other game. Next up, we got the Cavs and the Sixers. If Joel Embiid plays, which I believe he will, this would be a bit of a tighter matchup, but as history has shown, Joel Embiid kind of falls apart in the playoffs, and I hope he plays well, because I think he's a good player, but going off, I guess, recency bias towards his playoff failures, I am going to pick the Cavs to win that game in five. And then our last one is going to be the Knicks versus the Magic. The Magic face the same problem as the Thunder, as they're a very young team in the NBA, so I'm going to be picking the Knicks to win in 5 games. Alright, so our first matchup is going to be the Celtics versus the Knicks, and I think the Celtics will win 6. Again, the Celtics are a very good regular season team. We haven't seen them in the playoffs yet, so that is a bit of a knock on them. But I do think they will move on to the conference finals. And we got the Bucks versus the Cavs. I actually think the Cavs will win the series. Hear me out. The Cavs defense is elite, and we haven't seen a fully healthy Cavs team in a while, with Darius Garland and Evan Mobley being out for substantial periods of time. Though they've kind of figured it out when those two left, I think once they get back in, it might be different, and they might have a much better odds, as their team is more complete, and so I do think that they will actually beat the Bucks here, as the Bucks' dimension offensively is really one-sided. I think they only have Giannis and Dame and Bobby Portis, who is amazing. But I do think that the Cavs will win that. So our conference finals matchup here is going to be the Celtics versus the Cavs. And the Celtics, I think, are going to win in 6. Again, I'm going off purely off of this regular season and how I think they're going to play. So I think the finals matchup, which it should be the most common, is the Nuggets and Celtics. And I have the Nuggets winning in 6 games. I think this really just depends how much Nikola Jokic wants to play basketball, or if he wants to watch horses. I don't know. He can make his decision on that. But the Nuggets really have an answer for every team in the NBA currently, I think. The Celtics, this season, they are 54-14, I believe, and still haven't found a reason, or haven't found a way to beat Jokic and the Nuggets. And I'm not going to go against the defending champs either, so I have the Nuggets winning in 6 games. So that is my take on the current playoff bracket, but we will see how it changes before the playoffs. And yeah, thank you for listening. Peace.